Hello and welcome to the Dog Savant podcast. My name is Brett Endies. Today is episode 82. I am a professional dog trainer and I created this podcast to help you if you are a dog owner who needs training, dogs and owners. If you are a client in the real world and would like to supplement what we are doing with this podcast and the information shared. And if you're just anyone who's interested in learning more about your dog, behavior, training, the life of a professional dog trainer, this podcast is for you. I always ask, and please don't forget to share, rate, review, subscribe. I'm on iTunes, YouTube, I guess in some other areas as well online. You can find me. But don't forget to just let everyone know how this show might help you, entertain you. It really helps me and helps others find it as well. I actually got some numbers here. I really don't pay much attention to the analytics of this. It's not something I make any money off of, so it's really just not worth it. But I had someone look into it, and I guess on average, from what they're telling me, I get about 40 to 60 listeners per episode. And I guess that means downloads. I don't know if you're listening to the whole thing or you're fast forwarding to certain parts, but that's okay. I would assume it would be nice if I had at least that many reviews and people commenting on the show, because then it would exponentially help grow. And if that many people shared, then so on and so forth, we could get, a few hundred, 1,000 listeners here in a good, pretty short period of time. It's really why I'm motivated to do this. I really like helping. I love the feedback. I like talking about dogs. I've shared in recent episodes. I'm not able to really see clients in the real world, so now doing this and virtual training is how I am able to get my dog training rocks off, and it really is my identity. It's who I am. I am the dog guy for 25 years, and it's been hard for me, not just financially, but of course just as a man who likes to work and do what he does and share the information he's accumulated with his experience. I'm not able to do that as readily as I have. So if I am able to help you in the real world somehow, please contact me, because I'm doing virtual training, one-on-one, FaceTime, Skype, Zoom. We set up sessions. It's been working absolutely great with the people I've done it with. It absolutely helps me, but more importantly, it's going to get you some training, and I actually have an more open calendar now. So if you're not local to Los Angeles or Colorado, where I do my dog training in the real world, I have an opportunity, or you have an opportunity to work with me as well. So just reach out to me. You can go to my website. I have two of them. I have gooddogcolorado.com, and I also have dogtrainingla.com in the Los Angeles area. Or you could just email me directly, info@thedogsavant.com, dogtrainingla@gmail.com. Okay, so getting that off my chest, I was thinking what I would talk about today. I figured I would maybe just do another episode on walking and leash control and how to navigate getting out there in the world, walking with your dog side by side and not having issues related to it, pulling, reaction, lunging, not listening once the leash comes off, and so on. So I always like to start off by teaching a dog a well-versed heel command. And what does that mean? That means walking on a designated side, paying reasonable attention to you and where you're walking, not thinking 10 steps ahead, and we'll talk about that here in a moment, and really basically staying with you and checking in as you encounter life and the distractions of the world and social situations, versus a dog out ahead of you, pulling, having constant tension, hypervigilance, scanning, patrolling, thinking 10, 20, 100, 5,000 steps ahead, right? They get this mental rubber band where the dogs see the walk 10 blocks ahead before you even leave the house, and that's really just keeping their anticipation and anxiety levels high, which is exactly why you get the physical symptoms of dogs pulling, lunging, and overreacting once they encounter something, because they're already starting the walk in a hypervigilant, overexcited state. We're going to talk about that, how to start the walk in a way that sets you up for success. So a lot of people walk their dogs like that. Why do I know this? Because I'm out in the world, and where I was out in the world before COVID-19, and I also work with a lot of dog owners who struggled with this before we made some adjustments and got some good walking habits instilled in their dog. And it's really not hard. You can take a dog who's been pulling and lunging on a leash for years, and just with some equipment and expectation changes, you'll get success. You'll get a dog to not be reactive. And you have to create consistent practice for the dog to make this new habit for him. But if you make, again, those adjustments, you will see a major change right away. So teaching the heel, right? Because that's what you want to use as a replacement or a foundation for good walking, where a dog stays. They don't have to be staring at your face like you see them do in the shows on TV, but you need a dog paying attention to the moment, focusing their mind and body where you are walking along with them, not, like I keep saying, many steps ahead. I call it the mental rubber band, where they're just feeling a slingshot effect, because dogs are great at projecting themselves ahead of where their body is to get to a focal point for hunting, moving, searching, scanning. It's not productive when they're navigating something like a walk, though, where there's too much stimuli and there's not a focal point. You're just moving through the space together as a pack. So the walk, you want to shape the behavior, and a lot of people will be kind of strict about it and say only on the left side. It's just tradition. My best understanding is that because most people are right-handed, they would handle the dog on the left, and the weapon or their free hand would be on the right. For us, we're not doing more than carrying an iPhone other than our leash. So choose your hand that you're most comfortable. Most people use their dominant hand. I'm lefty, so I actually like to use the left. But if I'm working with a client, it's their choice. Now, you want to, like anything, and I always talk about this in any kind of training podcast or exercises or information I put, you want to shape the behavior. Dogs don't just know what heel is. They don't know to stay back while walking. So you want to teach this. With a puppy, you want to use a lot of treats. With an older dog, you might want to just make some adjustments with the equipment. We'll talk about the proper collars and how to handle the equipment for walking. But just getting a dog to, when they, get into the proper spot, you reward them, you give them a treat, you physically praise them, you verbally praise them. If a dog gets too ahead, you turn around and redirect. You want to show them that the only way to get ahead is by staying next to you, keeping a loose leash, and the reward of getting ahead, staying calm, and then the physical treat or verbal praise will also complement that, or teach this to shape it as a consistent behavior. So when a dog hears heel, they're always going to assume that position when walking, and you can get this to where it's even off leash, right? You just got to practice. But really, it's just the replacement for, or offsets the potential for dogs to pull on the leash, lunge, react too strongly, because they are doing those things associated with the walk. So you want to practice where there's not many distractions. Just start in your house, in the backyard, up and down the driveway. And you want to start this. Now, I've always talked about place training as a way to get a dog calm. It's a good idea if your dog has a little bit too much excitement tied to the walk, to even do a few minutes of the place training where the dog already has the leash on. They're calm, they're focused, they're not really anticipating while you're getting your shoes and your keys and you get everything ready to go. They're actually more just calm, and that's something else that should be practiced, not just doing it when you're ready to walk, because it's too little too late if they have already too much anticipation and excitement beginning their walk. So you do that, then you segue, you do the heel to get them from the place to the door. I like a sit at a door just to really segue every leg of the journey. Normally we just put the leash on, grab our keys, shoes, and go. The dogs, again, like I said before, are already over anticipating, and you're catching up to them where their mental rubber band is already over projected. So we want to keep them calm, hold their attention through their commands, both moving, which is heel, and keeping their attention in a heel while walking next to you on a designated side with a loose leash. I cannot say that enough. That is the goal of walking in the heel command. And when they're sitting or down or placing, they're calm, they're focusing, they're just kind of meditating on this single pointed task, which is a command, which is good for any dog's behavior issues, or a dog to be calm or stay or listen where and when we want them to. So we start leading them, and a dog's probably, when you first start getting out the house, they're going to try to rush it. You can turn back around, stop and sit. You want to be contradicting. So you're just teaching them, again, cause and effect. You keep trying to get ahead, we go the other way. You're going to have to out-persist them, and dogs are super persistent. That's why we love them. They have a lot of gusto. They have an exuberance for life, but they're also a pain in the butt because they don't like to let things go so quickly, especially if they have a drive or something that's really worked for them. If it's like, hey, I pulled on these walks, don't tell me otherwise. So some dogs even start having a little bit of a tantrum when I intervene. The owners think their dogs are going to die because their dogs start fighting the leash. It's like, no, the control is over, and the dogs are going to have to tune in now to get where they want to go. So you're basically saying, hey, you want to go all the way this way on the walk? We're going to do an opposite direction. And it's a good idea to be contradictory, even just randomize where you go, the pace you go, the distractions you encounter. So the walk really is just more on your terms and based on the command to create this calmer way to get through the event. One day you don't even have to go to a heel. They just learn to stay within range of you in the loose leash. And I've talked about this where you can phase a heel and only use it as needed once that's the norm. But I would be very consistent where that would be how the walks go, short of giving them a little break for a potty time or socializing. You don't want to be saying, well, you just kind of arbitrarily get away from the heel or don't listen or pull on the leash. It's like, no, you're never going to pull on the leash, and even if you're going to leave my side, I'm going to command that. People think that's strict, but to be honest, that's going to give your dog a lot less anxiety and a lot less of these issues that can be, just downright unsafe for them. I don't think dogs lunging at everything, that if they ever get off a leash, or dogs chasing cars or reacting to other dogs or people, or jumping or running too excited when puppies do this a lot because people reciprocate it. It's not good. It just spikes a dog's anxiety level. It leads to other issues, created from that anxiety or over hypervigilance when it's too much for the dog to handle, and just physically the dog could be put in unsafe situations. So I have no, I'm all about that and letting the dog learn. You'll get your potty time, your sniff time, your play time when it's scheduled. Just like when people go to work, they don't just party and play, and when kids go to school, they don't just go to recess and socialize. Everything's scheduled, regimented, and structured for the benefit of the bigger picture of those that need that structure, guidance, and compartmentalization of their days. Okay, enough of the philosophy, back to logistics. So the walks, you want to maintain it. You want to start short, especially with a puppy. You don't do more than 5-10 minutes. You want to build on this and add distractions and how long, the duration of how long they can hold their attention, because you're going to be going, heel or let's go, good, let's go, heel, a few more seconds passes, let's go, good, and you just keep building how long you could say heel. Oh, they're holding their attention for 30 seconds. There you go. And you're building that focus. You're building the stamina of their mind and their endurance to hold attention on commands. And I tell you, you're going to do great with a puppy because it's a clean slate. If that's all they know right from the start when you start introducing walking, it's your older dogs that have this stronger agenda tied to walking, or a lot of dogs have been taught to walk on a harness, which you've heard me say enough about how that those are meant to teach pulling and lunging. They're not safe for dogs. They're physically putting constant stress on them. They promote and exacerbate all of the issues I'm talking about that are negative behaviors and traits related to walking. And it really is just the dog can even slip out of it. I've heard of stories of dogs backing out of harnesses and then running off, and then they don't listen to the owner because they were never taught to tune in through the leash. So once they have that independence, they're gone, right? And this is all just, to suit dog owners' emotions. That's why harnesses have been popular lately, even though for years before this weird way the world was, prior to COVID-19, let's hope we go back to normalcy when people get a little smack of reality in their face. That we see training equipment for what it is and the tools for what they are, and that used properly, they're a lot safer, the right training tools, than these things that just pander to people's emotions and make them feel good about themselves, and they won't get collar shamed by their neighbors, but their dogs are miserable pulling and have a myriad of behavior issues. Whew. We're on point with the words today, aren't we, folks? All right, it's just coming out of me. I tell you, I don't talk about dogs 10 hours a day like I normally do, so I got a lot of stuff here in the file cabinet to share with you, download on you, podcast listeners, all 40 to 60 of you, right? All right, so I hope that just paints a good picture. I have a lot of videos that actually will show this and show me explaining kind of what I'm talking about here while I'm handling a dog. But really, again, you want to, like any command, build this. It's really important because the walking is the basis of just how your dog socializes. Even for, let's say you have a puppy and you don't want your dog learning to run up to everything too excited and, losing control when they see another dog or people. Walking towards that, you can't just have them sit and then 100 feet of distance. You have to actually lead the dog to something and then have them sit and then engage the situation. So these are good segue commands: the heel, the walking, getting a dog calm to get them even around the house, teaching them to walk at your side if they're a little too hypervigilant. You get separation anxiety issues. It's a way to keep them tuned into you and checking in with your command while you're side by side. Dogs want to work in sync with us, and this really can simulate that. And it also, you talk Cesar Millan stuff, it helps with that whole pack order. It shows that you're going to dictate, you're the one who's out in front, you're the one who's deciding what happens as you encounter life right from the start, right before the dog has any preconceived idea that you're going to go on a walk. That's why you have to have a lot of preemptive strategies, whether it be dealing with a walk, a greeting before you're coming and going, a time of day, a certain interaction or thing that your environment you're sharing with your dog. You don't just wait for the problems to happen and then you're just looking for fires to put out. You always try to prevent things by having a strategy, by understanding the dynamics of what's going on from your dog's point of view and how to handle it from an understanding of how dog behavior conditioning and the human-dog relationship works, not on how your emotions or your feelings tell you about it. All right, so that was the leash walking episode. I've done others. I just figured, like I say, I wanted to maybe put a different take on a different day on the same subject to help give you more info and other ways to approach it, or maybe different ways to explain it will resonate with you and kind of give you that aha moment. So thank you. If you have any questions related to walking or otherwise, I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to reach out to me. Info at the Dog Savant, dogtrainingla@gmail.com. I'm doing, again, virtual training online, Skype, telephone, Zoom, FaceTime. So reach out to me if you're interested in that. And don't forget to review, tell everyone. I would love to check in a couple months from now and see that we have over 100 people listening to each episode. This has helped people in the real world, so I know it'll help you and anyone else that finds this podcast. So thanks again. Oh, and one last thing, although I have talked it down because I'm relying more on online content to make a living and share, and I want to put more, see there's more episodes coming out here regularly. I have a Patreon page. Please, if it's $1, $10, $100, whatever you can do, I have extra content on it. I'm going to actually update it and have more content offered through it, but it is patreon.com/thedogsavant, THEDOGSAVANT. All right. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. Stay safe. Take care.